What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we are taking a break from our LS3 while it's at the machine shop, and we're gonna take a stab at creating some downforce in the rear with a rather large GT wing. The cool thing about this is it is completely budget friendly. Yes, there are extremely nice GT wings out there, and yes, you know, the price can go all the way up to $4,500. Well, that's not what this video is about. We're balling on a budget. We try to do nice work. We try to show quality work and quality parts, but sometimes, you know, that's not always in the budget. So I will say that I'm filming this intro after the fact. The project's done and the wing came out great. I'm really happy with it, and I think the construction from the factory and the carbon fiber is fantastic. So stay tuned and you can see kind of the process and kind of a goofy manner in which we mount this wing. Stay tuned. So what we have here is I taped off the location that we're going to be fabricating a new mount. And what I'm thinking is I don't want to pull this lip off because it looks pretty crappy underneath of these. There's like a hole here and a couple more holes underneath. The paint's always really faded, and I personally don't like the back end of the Z without it. I think it looks really bulbous. So what I've done is I've marked the location which centers our wing on the trunk. And what I think we're going to do is use a piece of flat steel and make a base plate that our mount can kind of sit on, and we'll have uprights off it. And then we'll do the same, we'll do a strap back here, same material, that comes up and sandwiches the upright to the wing. So I know lots of hand motions and stuff. Hard to kind of visualize what I'm talking about, but you know, I think once we start piecing it together, it'll come together nicely. Alright, now that we got this piece kind of tacked up, I think it's going to work just fine. We'll clean up the welds. I'm not a very good welder, but I sure am a good grinder. So, and then the second part to what we're going to do is we're going to put a piece down the front face, and that'll really stiffen this whole bracket up. So I'm just going to take my caliper and transfer that to another piece of steel. I'll get it all cut up. We'll clean up the weld and we'll tack that front face on as well. Alright, we got the old grinder busted out. We're going to get this weld cleaned up, and then we'll move on to the next one. Now we're going to drill the holes for our bolts to mount it to the trunk. So quick little update. I got a little carried away working on the car, and I kind of forgot to bring you guys along, but I got 3 of my 4 holes in and through the hatch of the car, and for the most part, you know, it's not perfectly symmetrical, but you know, for what I do and for what this car's about, you know, I think it came out all right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put a mounting plate here, and I'm thinking it will be something along the lines of a plate like this. It kind of follows the line, and what I'm thinking about doing is taking a torch and putting a little bit of a bend in this. It doesn't have to be very much, but just get it a little kind of flatter. And then from here, kind of hard to hold the camera and also show you guys, but do knife plates off that kind of sandwich, kind of like what we did here, but without the front face, and that'll come up to about here where the wing sits. So got to run out, got to get a little bit longer hardware for this mount, and then we'll get this bolted all the way down. We'll get the wing on and resting its weight on this. We'll shim this up about 1/8 of an inch, 1/16-ish, somewhere in there. And then we can mock up and see what we're going to do with the rear mounts. So I'll be back once I get this bolted down. Hopefully this camera position works. So got both of these bolted down and tightened down, and now I'm going to grab the wing, slide it in place, and brace it up with the gap that we need here so that I can make the rear mounting plates. So let me grab the wing, I'll be right back. Well, unfortunately the camera fell, but we got the wing in place. See if you can see that. I guess this is the first time you've seen the wing. We're running just a cheap NRG wing that I wanted to be a little bit better than just, I don't know. I figured we could make it a little better than what it actually is. So, but this is how our mount interacts. And what I'm thinking is leaving about a gap like that, and potentially putting another bolt here. The material gets a little thin, so maybe down there if I decide to do it. But it slides into place pretty well. And you know, same deal. This side will have a little bit of a gap, not much. And then, where did I put it? Got this piece, which I've tried to put a little bend on to match the contour of the hatch. I think it came out decent, you know, pretty good. I think that's upside down. How'd I do it? So like this? I think it was like this, actually. So this will go here, and then we'll have 2 knife plates that come off kind of on either side and hit that. So I don't have it all figured out, but somehow there'll be maybe put a cut here with some flat stock and just run it straight up and kind of weld it into this back plate. I'm not exactly sure, but this thing is very solid. Like you can see it's not even bolted in with a nut and washer, but it is not going anywhere. There's no lateral movement on this at all. It's pretty good. I'm kind of surprised. Shouldn't be surprised, but I am nonetheless. And let's see if you can see it from front a little bit. I don't mind the chair. Whole car's gutted right now. So kind of what we're working with. Alright, so here's what we got going on now. And I have to admit, it looks like a little bit of a cluster. And that's because it is. We're going to mount this plate to the hatch. Then weld these uprights that are being held on here. I got a shim on either side just to give a little bit of spacing, because I think that's important. And now what we're gonna do is just hit it with a tack on either side, and we can take it off the car and weld it up. Alright, so I'm going to try to TIG weld this piece, and I will be the first person to admit that I am the worst TIG welder. I can't even call myself a TIG welder. I'm the worst on YouTube, so if I blow through the piece or ruin it, it's just steel and I can build another one, so I'm not worried about it. But we're going to give it a shot. See if I can make it focus too. I think it's okay. By no means is it great, but you know, it's okay. So I'll weld up the other side, and you see I drilled the holes already. We'll get it mounted onto the car, so I'll be right back. So we got all 4 of our mounting posts or brackets kind of fabbed up and tightened down into place. Everything lined up and fit pretty well. Gotta enlarge this hole a little bit, but for the most part, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. One thing that I gotta work on is, I don't know if I want to round this corner or maybe bring it down like that, you know, like a straight edge down. Kind of mocked it up over here with Sharpie. I kind of don't like either look, you know, something like that. Maybe bring it down to like here, so it's a little bit, takes more off. Kind of ruins everything. I don't know. So I might not do anything with it for now. And yeah, I don't know. Maybe leave a comment what you would do. But for now, we're gonna get the wing off. We're gonna clean up these parts and we're gonna powder coat them black. I think that'll kind of make them blend in and disappear. I am really happy with the curvature of this. Nothing like just beating a piece of steel and hoping it kind of lines up. So I think all in all, it turned out pretty good. My welds kind of got a little better as we went on. Definitely not a welder, but yeah. So that's the update. I will say this is a cheap wing. Seems like most of the wings that you can get for the 350Z are somewhere around $1,300, you know, kind of like a starting price range. They go all the way up to like $3,500, $4,500. And so I was able to buy this wing with shipping and taxes to Washington State for $500. And the steel and the hardware ended up costing me about another $100. So $600 and about 8 hours of labor. You know, I think that's a win. So I'm stoked on it. And, you know, we'll see how it performs on the track. All right, so we're out here getting ready to powder coat. We got our oven fired up to 450. And we have a little stand that fits in there pretty well that we'll just wire tie. I think we'll do 2 pieces at a time. Wire tie it maybe to the holes or something like that. We'll figure it out. Oh, that's hot. Jesus. So here the pieces cooled off. I think they came out pretty good. My ugly weld and grinding down here kind of came together pretty good, and likewise over here, not bad. And it's like mirror smooth. All right, so we got our mounts kind of snug but not super tight on the car, and we're gonna put the wing in, and fingers crossed everything lines up. Try to get the wing attached to our mounts basically, and then we'll tighten everything down to the car from there. So we'll give it a shot. Alright, that's going to be a wrap on today's video. There was a lot of talking, perhaps a little boring, but, you know, I do want to stress that this NRG wing is actually really nice. The carbon fiber weave on it and finish is like really decent for $500, and I think with a little bit of elbow grease and ingenuity and whatnot, putting these brackets on really kind of livened up the look of the wing. I'm really happy with how it works on the 350Z. It actually follows the body line down really well. A bunch of different race organizations like Global Time Attack and OnGrid have different class rules, and one of them is the height requirement and the width requirement. So this wing is about 1/4 inch on each side in from the actual total width of the body, which is good, and it stays right below the roof line. So this wing will fit in a lot of classes. I also really like, see if you can see, it lines up nicely with the back of the car. That was important to me because I've seen this wing mounted where the mounting plate is up here, shifting the wing forward, and obviously it's a personal preference. I don't like it. Not saying it's wrong by any means, but anyways, that's going to end off the video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button. We're going to be working on an LS3 in the upcoming videos, so stay tuned.